Peace and blessings. So, my name is Carlos Walker, and this is Forward Progress. So, I got my brother here, Keelan Harden. I actually know him, and know a little bit about his story. However, remember this is fresh. So, what we are doing here is sharing stories of forward progress of the butterfly, but what the caterpillar had to get through to get here. So, Mr. Harden, before we start, I do want you to let them know who you are briefly, what you do now, and then we're gonna get into the story.
Well, first and foremost, I gotta give all honor and glory to God, because if it wasn't for Him, none of this would be possible. So I'm very thankful for the situation that I'm in right now, and it's all because God was merciful on me. But my name is Keelan Harden. I'm from Charleston, South Carolina. I've been around. I lived in a few states here and there, but I started my life off in the streets. You know how they go. If you want to know a little bit about my former life, I can drop a few
Yes,
good.
I most definitely want you to share a little bit about your former life. So, what we're gonna do now is take roughly probably about 8 9 minutes just going into what you used to do
Okay.
leading up to your incarceration. Talk to me.
Okay. Since I was 3 years old, I have drugs, guns, murder, violence shoved in my face. So most of the people I've been around, they use drugs. So I knew earlier at an early age that I was going to be involved with drugs in some way, form, or fashion. So I had to pick out what type of person that I wanted to be. And the people that I seen that were the happiest was the drug dealers. So I was inspired to be like one of them. So I started on my little journey when I was about 12 years old. I used to go outside and hang out with, see the big boys with all the girls, cars, and everything. And I was like, man, how can I get like that? And so that's how I was introduced to the drug game. And so from there on, I fell in love with the money. So that has always been my passion to get the money, to chase the money. But nobody, I had the work ethic and the mind capacity to generate income, but I didn't have the wisdom and the knowledge of how to do it legitimately, or even what to do with the money. So I started selling drugs, and I progressed pretty fairly because I've never done drugs or alcohol in my life before.
Mm.
And at the time, I wasn't, messing with the girls. So it was all about fashion and stacking my bread at a young age. And so
How old
all
were
the
you, if
guys
you
that
don't
was my
mind,
age,
when you
I was
first started?
12.
Okay.
Yes, all the guys that was my age, they ended up working for me because they was chasing women and drinking already and smoking and doing all this stuff, which I was never interested in. Because remember, I grew up in a household full of people who did all of that stuff, and they was always miserable when they wasn't doing it. So as the years progressed, I started growing in the game, growing. But at the same time, whenever you're in the street element like that and you're getting money, the element of violence come with it.
Hmm.
So I started, having to be violent to protect my domain and things like that, carrying guns, doing things to people violently to make sure that I'm respected. That you know how to go. So as I progressed, I started moving up the ladder, and I had this guy that was working for me, and I didn't control his envy. He wanted to be me, so he ended up catching a little petty crime. The police never knew nothing about me, and so his way of getting out of it was point the finger at me. That's the first thing people want to do when they get in trouble is point the finger at somebody else. Even Adam and Eve did it.
Hmm.
So he pointed the finger at me, and from there on, it was downhill spiral. You know what I mean? The feds got me. All my co-defendants by the time I got arrested, all of them had not told the feds everything except one girl. And the reason why this dude started telling on me because he thought I was messing with his girlfriend, which was not true. She was like a sister to me. We was really close. Her name is Toya. But she was the only one that went to trial with me. So I ended up going to trial, and I blew trial in 3 days, and that's how I got the life sentence in the 30 years running consecutive.
So,
But yeah,
before we jump into how much time you actually got going through uh, that trial moment, once they got you, how did you feel? What was your emotions at? Because the reason why I need this is to guide young people into understanding, and those that are still behind there, so they will understand their
oh,
emotional standpoint that come with this. Because you had kids at the time, or did you not?
No, I didn't. I don't have any kids. I just had one when I came home.
Okay, okay. So how did you feel? Tell me a little bit about the feeling part of it, because your parents, I'm assuming your mother was still alive at the time,
Hmm.
and everything. So share that with me.
Like I told you, I grew up in a house in a family full of gangsters and drug dealers, and so it was bred in me to be callous to certain things. So when I was arrested, I was already prepared for this. So it was just like another day. The reality of the situation didn't hit me until after I was in prison for about 5 or 10 years. So when I got arrested, I'm like, I'm ready for it. Like, yeah, whatever. You know what I mean? I had one of those attitudes. So I'm like, give it to me. Because, I was forced at a young age to realize you have to accept responsibility for whatever consequences that come along with the lifestyle that you choose for yourself. So I was prepared. And another thing, I didn't take it serious because back in those days, I used to see dudes going home, getting 15, 10, 15, 20 years, and they'd be home in like 3 or 4 years. You know what I mean? So I really didn't know that in the state, it was a whole different dynamics.
I was
So,
just about to bring that up.
so when you get 20 years in the state, you'll be home in a couple of years. You know what I mean? But in the feds, when you get 20 years, you ain't gonna be home for 17.5. You know what I mean? They don't understand that because
It's it,
the
it's gonna
feds
be a
don't
long
have the
ride.
laws. The feds don't have the laws like the state do. They have codes and things of that nature that we're absolutely not aware of if you've
Oh,
never been to the feds.
true. So
Yeah.
you done got the time. You 5 years in.
Hmm.
One, you got a life sentence. Did they send you to the pen first?
Yeah. My first place was USP Atlanta. And
Okay. You're
that's
in
what
the
Atlanta.
pen. Share
I'm
this
in,
with
I'm
me.
in the pen now. It looked like Castle Grace Call. When you pull up, it's a 40-foot wall surrounding the prison. So when you walk in now, mine now it's an old jail. You know what I mean? So when I get in there, it's different now. See, back then when you went to prison, when you first got to prison, they send you straight to the hole, and you have to sit in the hole until they do this thing called a captain's review. So you got to get interviewed by the captain to see if you're eligible to hit this yard because this is like a maximum security prison where it's some grown folk stuff going on back here. So they want to make sure that you had the mind capacity to deal with everything that's going on back there because a lot of dudes be in the streets, but they not real criminals. And so I'm saying, like you got dudes that might sell drugs because they found a plug or they big brother the plug, but they never went through the element of, what I mean, fighting and not shooting and what I mean, getting bullied. I mean, stuff like that, things of that nature. So they want to make sure that you could adjust in this environment because it was a hostile environment at that time and there was a lot of corruption going on. But the thing about it is, when I got to USP Atlanta that first day, they had a riot. It was DC against Florida. So I ended up sitting in the hole for like a month because nothing was moving. So my first day there, I'm in a hole with two other dudes. I'm sleeping on the floor, and this is like a dungeon. I'm talking about old school. So they come through in the morning for rec. This is a quick story. So they come through and they like, who want rec? So they come through like 5 a.m. and ask you want rec? So I'm like, yeah. So they come get me and take me out the rec because I want to get some fresh air. I've been in the county jail for a couple of years now. So when we go outside, they put you in these cages. So at the time in the county jail, they starve you. So I'm probably weighing like 135, 140 at the time. Everybody out there, 200 plus, all muscle. So, so I'm looking around like, so I'm a little like everybody bigger than me. I'm to my even the Mexicans. So I'm looking around. So the dudes in the cage. It's only like 4 people in the cage. So it's a dude from DC named Mike. I never forget. And the Mexican, both of them like 200 plus muscle big. So they working out. So I hear Mike told the Mexican, "Yo, I told you I was working out right here, man. Don't be walking by me." So the Mexican dude was like, he couldn't really understand English, so he walked by the dude again. So Mike jumps up and he pushes him right. So the dudes from DC, they yelling, "Knock him out, Mike! Knock him out!" So the Mexican dudes, they yelling over there, "Me go handle that," because both of them about to say. So they square off. So they throwing haymakers. They big boys too. I'm talking about. So they, but every time Mike hit him, he cut the Mexican dude on his face. Boom, boom. So they swing. Every time he hit him, bop, boom, cuts all over his face. So I'll never forget. this the first time I ever seen this happen before because I thought I could have fight. So the Mexican dude threw a right hand and Mike like dipped down like that and came through with a vicious body shot, boom, and broke him down on his knees. I was like, oh, I ain't yeah, yeah, this a whole other level right here. I ain't know how to do that type of stuff right there. You know what I mean? So that was the first day in prison right there. So I ain't went out for rec no more. But so they let me out on the compound, and then they put me in a room with a dude from DC. Now at the time, I don't know about the dudes from DC. Now they're a whole nother creature. You know what I mean? The dude I was in, they put me in the cell with.
Hold on, something happened to you. You might have to go back and let me see if we can bring him back up. He done dipped off for a second. I gotta get him back.
This dude, his name was Big Pete. They used to call his right hand the final decision, and they called his left hand vacate and set aside, because he was known for knocking dudes out and stuff. He was the truth, you know what I mean? So when I went in the cell, me and him instantly we hit it off like that. He was real cool. He respected me a lot. So he taught me how to fight like Mike in the cage. That dude, because he trained that dude.
You gotta
So
remember, DC
he
dudes, they
yeah
they used to box. The older
yeah
ones, they literally had it's DC, Philly, and Baltimore.
Baltimore, yeah.
Yeah, these are known. They create champions. But go ahead.
Absolutely. So me and him started training in the cell every day for hours and hours. So that's where I really learned how to fight good, where I can put somebody down really quick. And he taught me how to knife fight too. So we in the cell talking one day, and he tell me, he was like, "How much time you got?" And I was like, "Life sentence in 30 years." I said, "But at the time I'm arrogant and vain. The reality ain't." So I'm like, "Man, I ain't worried about that. I'll be out in 5." So he looked at me, he was like, "Bro, I ain't trying to discourage you or nothing, but I've been saying that for 30 years." That's what he said. I said, "You been in here that long?" He was like, "Yeah." I said, "When you getting out?" He's like, "I don't know." So at the time, I'm like, "Dang, that's messed up. They did you wrong, but that ain't me." So that was the beginning of my journey right there.
And
Hmm
that was the beginning of the feelings that came with the journey.
But I still hadn't learned my lesson though, because like I told you, Atlanta was very corrupt. So one of my homeboys, named Debo, he had a police. So he was getting pounds of weed in the prison. So shit, you know me. I want to make some money. I'm stuck here. What do I care for? I got a life sentence. So I just started slinging weed in prison. And it didn't take long for my name to get out there. So that's what it was. But it wasn't until probably like 6 years later that I ran into some real men, some godly men. And they used to work out hard. I'm talking about they was the best workout dudes on the yard. And so I always wanted to be like a runner. So I used to watch them. I'm talking about these dudes as animals. They was like horses, but they was real men. You never seen them in nothing. You never heard they name. Everything was, you know what I mean. So I was like, man, them some good men right there. So they closed Atlanta down, and they shipped us all to USP Coleman because Atlanta turned into FCI, lower custody prison.
Mm-hmm.
And so all of us high custody people had to find a new home. So they put all us on buses, and they shipped us all the way down to USP Coleman too. So all the same dudes who I was telling you, they used to call us them horses. So I they was into the church. So one of them became my cellie. So when they became my cellie, we used to talk. He used to always come to church, come to church. So I started going to church, and then one thing led to another. Then I started coming outside working with them and working out with them. And then the next thing you know, my transformation started because these dudes was not going to let you bring that element of anything negative into their presence. You know what I mean? So they was all strictly about, hard working, having good men of integrity, loving the Lord, you know what I mean? So This is how the journey started with my walk too. At this time, I was still a little rusty at the time, but working out your own salvation, it take a little bit. But they were very patient and disciplined with dealing with me and my transformation. So it's because God, these men let God work through them, that I am the man that I have become. You know what I mean? So big shout out to Mark Sanders and Tony Walker.
I
You know what I mean? So very good man.
You already know me and you actually know each other. I know the you that you became
Yeah,
before I came into the system. I don't know the guy that you telling me about now. And I can actually truly say that I'm grateful to get to have known you, served with you, and to be actually having this conversation now. Because I learned kind of like you learned. There are men or stages that God take you through before you become who you have
hmm,
become. And yes,
amen.
you may have went through your caterpillar stage of selling drugs on the street, then coming into the system, not realizing, but also being groomed to be who you are. Because the boxing and all that, that's a discipline. All of
Absolutely,
these are disciplines to get you to where you're at now. Because with that discipline, when you got with the godly men, not saying that those men that didn't believe in some form, but they were still in their element of, man, you know what, I got to get some money. They didn't
mm,
elevate to the next stage. But what God
absolutely.
chose you to do is let you see something, inspire. Matter of fact, now I think about it, listen to your story. This has happened to you your whole life.
Hmm.
You told me about when you were young, you seen you wanted to be, you became. After that, you seen the guy, my man, put the Mexican down. You seen you wanted to be, your celly help you become better boxing,
Absolutely.
everything. You seen godly men from afar. You was like, yo, you know what? And these are the stages that took you into your transformation. Now, we're going to get back more into this transformation. So now you done found God, you were working on you, because this is where everything starts. It don't start with me worrying about everybody else. I got to work
Hmm.
on the in me. Seeing these men made you want to be better.
Absolutely.
It's kind of like iron sharpens iron. Tell me
And
a few things. Go ahead.
it's a different kind of respect that they. I've seen men get respect because of how much money they got.
Hmm.
I've seen men get respect about the level of violence that they have the ability to, produce. And then I've seen men who have gained their respect through integrity,
Character.
character, good character. And that character, that right there, humility, that right there, that respect right there, it trumped them all. Because I've seen the most gangster person step in for one of those humble dudes and be like, "Hey, why you? Nah, you're not gonna disrespect Brother Mark." They won't even use profanity in front of him. You know what I mean? So I was like, "Wow, that's a whole nother level of respect right there." They like, "Come on, oh, excuse me, good brother, I didn't mean to talk like that." You know what I mean? Things of that nature. So I was like, "Wow, that's it right there. That's even better than what I mean, somebody fearing you because they think that you might hurt them or something like that." That level of respect is something that I really can respect and appreciate. But that's
And,
one of the things that motivate me to say, man, I want that. Yeah.
and you being a
It's a
man
whole
who
nother level of
have
respect.
had different stages of respect. The street
Hmm.
life, like you said, you had people up under you, so they respected you because of such. Then when you had to
Hmm.
even start defending your territory,
Hmm.
there came the violent type of respect. But to
Hmm.
get the next level, it shifted your mindset to what you can do without even having to use your hands, without having to do certain things. So now we're gonna shift this. You have moved into the stages of uh, character building, of getting yourself. You went to, I think you said Coleman. This was your next prison after Atlanta, And where did you go from
Yeah.
there? Because you're also
Hold
transitioning
on.
into your better self.
See, the thing about me is that, and this is a blessing. It's not by my own hand, but I have always had a hedge of protection over me, an anointing, and the Lord has always given me favor. I felt like Joseph a little bit, but I'm not going to disrespect him and tell him I'm on his level. But everywhere I go, everywhere I've been, I've seen a level of prosperity in and out of prison, no matter what I was doing. That's why I believe in on Romans 8:28 when it says, "For all things work for the good of those who love the Lord and who are called according to His purpose." It's just all things. So I believe that I've seen it everywhere. Every yard I've been to always had the best jobs. Every yard. You know what I mean? When I was at Atlanta, I was the number one baker. When I went to Coleman, I was the number one guy in the commissary. I was the number one baker, and then I got um, promoted to the commissary, and I was the number one guy in the commissary. You know what I mean? So then I went to this is where I messed up at. Instead of letting God lead me, I wanted to let man lead me. So I was eligible to go to a lower custody, which is a FCI. So instead of letting God lead the way, I wanted to take it in my own hands. And I start asking dudes, what the best FCI to go to? What the best? So everybody, El Reno, El Reno. So I asked the lady to put me in for El Reno. She was like, El Reno, you want to go all the way out there? I was like, yeah, because I heard word of mouth that that's the best place. So she was like, okay. So when I get out there, oh my God, the worst mistake I ever made. Because you got to remember, coming from the East Coast, we're not used to really dealing with the gang culture like that. And over there is really, really bad when you start going Midwest and over. And so I wasn't used to dealing with that. On the East Coast, we used to get money, you know what I mean, messing with, you know what I mean, things like that. You know what I mean? Over there, they don't care about that. They just wanna gang bang. So I'm like, what are y'all, like crazy or something? There's no profit in this in my mind, because at the time I'm still, you know what I mean, I'm still thinking profit. You know what I mean? So I get over there and it's miserable. So I'm like, I'm gonna blow this y'all, because once you transfer, you got to stay there for 18 months for you eligible. So I got on my knees. I said, Lord, I disrespected you by putting it in my own hands. This is a true story. And so I was like, listen, I had no favor there because I did it on my own. I was like, Lord, if you put me back on the right track, I promise you I won't interfere with nothing else you got going on for my life. Bro, I probably been there like 2 months out the time, 2 or 3 months. That Monday, this was the weekend. That Monday, I looked on the call out and it said, come up to R&D. I'm like, come up to R&D. Sometimes we be hearing these stories about people be saying, oh, this happened with the Lord did this and you like, come on, Sister Johnson. You know good and well that wasn't. But I'm telling you some stuff that I have experienced. That Monday, they had me on the call out. I go to R&D. I'm like, y'all got me on the call out up here. They was like, yeah, you bring your property. I'm like, for what? Mine, I ain't even put nothing in or nothing. All I did was put in the prayer. They said, you leaving? I said, I'm leaving. I just got here. What are you talking about? You got the right person? They're like, yeah, what's your name? I show them my ID, Keelan. They said, yeah, you leaving. What? Go back and get your stuff. You up out of here. I said, I'm out of here. Where I'm going at? They was like, man, you going to get your stuff or what? So I said, shoot, you ain't got to tell me twice. I ran back, got all my stuff, packed it up, went back up to R&D, packed it out. So when I get back to the unit, I go see my counselor. I say, they had me pack my stuff up. What's going on? He's like, oh yeah, you leaving? You didn't get the paper? I said, no, where I'm going? He was like, you going back on the East Coast. I was like, hallelujah. Man, I was so happy to get away from them gangbangers. So, boom, I'm on the next thing smoking. They send me to Otisville. So I'm telling them, everybody like, man, the couple of people who have liked me, they be like, man, where you going? I said, oh, some place called Otisville. They's like, man, that's a nice place, blah, blah, blah. So, boom, I get up to Otisville. I'm back in the favor, back at the number one job. I'm the captain's orderly up there. He loved me. I'm talking about, when I tell you this man loved me, bro, I'm talking about he let me order sneakers out the East Bay magazine. Um, I'm getting all the tobacco out of his office. Um, I'm gonna keep it real. And I'm out 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, walking the yard when everybody else sleeping. I'm locked in the dorms. Man, I'm talking about when I tell you I had favor, I could go in any unit. I only eat out the old officers mess hall. I'm talking about, man, it was I had the captains go in the kitchen and bring me back pans of chicken. I'm talking about, man, I'm talking about when I tell you this, man, I talked to his daughters on the phone, his mom. I'm talking about this man had let me a white dude, hillbilly too. You know what I mean? But for some reason, when I first met him, they walked in the office, and I walked in the office to make this story short, and they was like, "Yeah, the captain looking for ordering, and I recommended you, my counselor, because I told my counselor off and everything, so he liked me because he wasn't used to nobody talking to him like that. So he was like, man, you the perfect person to work for the captain. So when I went up there to talk to the captain, he kind of like a smart mouth dude too. So when I went in his office, he was like, "What you want?" I said, "Man, hey, first and foremost, you called me up here, man. So I still got a little attitude, but I ain't." So he's staring me down, I'm staring him down. So he was like, "Yeah, I like him." So ever since then, I started working for him, and he found out that I was a hard worker. I transformed his own office, did his floors. I mean, he loved me, right? I'm in his office, kick back, looking at BET, all kind of stuff. I like on the weekend, I go up there and tell the lieutenants, open the captain office for me, man. They open his office. I'll be sitting in there, man. I'm telling you, I have favor. God bless him. So here it is. I've been up there about 2 3 years. Um, Now I'm ready to go. So what I want to do, the same thing I did when went to Oklahoma that time. So they like, oh, I'm hard. You. I said, yeah, I want to go down south and get closer to home so I can get some visits. So they're like, where you want to go at? So I was like, I'll tell y'all later what I want to do. Run around and ask some people. But and they caught me. God reminded me, remember last time? So I went back. I said, oh, no, let me take that off the table. Y'all send me when y'all ready. So I ended up staying there another 2 years. And then one day they was like, all right, the law just changed. So we got to send you 500 miles within your home. So we're going to send you to Bennisfield. Got to Bennisfield. When I got to Bennisfield, the Lord was waiting on me there too. As soon as I got there, number one baker in the officers mess hall, and I hate to say this, and I'm bringing cell phones in. So like yeah. So I'm pretty much having my way over there too. You know what I mean? So um, I met a girl there, and I was supposed to marry her. That so it was good. I had like a good 5 years over there, and then that's when they shipped me to Williamsburg because I kept bringing in cell phones, never catch me with none of them. So they shipped me to Williamsburg. They was like, all right, we can't catch you here. We gonna send you over there. So if you do anything, you got to start off first. But I ended up getting caught with a cell phone in Williamsburg. Out of all
How
them
long
hundreds of
you?
cell phones I
What
had,
year did you leave Venezuela?
I think it was 2015.
Okay, okay, okay.
I think it was 2015 when I left from over there. Yeah, and that's when I got to Williamsburg. And when I got to Williamsburg, you forgot I was working in the offices mess over there too. Remember, I
No,
was the
I was at
baker over
Venezuela.
there. Me and oh, you was at Bennisfield. Oh, okay, yeah, yeah. So when we was at Bennisfield, I was the guy that was bringing the cell phones in the kitchen. Yeah,
So,
yeah,
when did you decide to? I'm assuming we see your gradual progress from the mind state you had from selling drugs and doing still maybe doing little things to make money, cell phones, the whole nine. When did you decide to even quit that? Was it when the last cell phone when you got caught with the last one or what?
yeah. See, I had already made the decision probably like years before that no matter what, I'm not going to sell drugs no more. You know what I mean? But I never took anything else off the table. You know what I mean? But drugs and guns. I said that's what got me here. I'm not gonna let it have another crack at me. So I didn't shut the door on everything. You know what I mean? So the opportunity presented itself, and I'm not gonna lie, I jumped at it. You know what I mean? So the mind play tricks on you and tell you, well, you're not hurting nobody. So anyway, I'm at Williamsburg, and I had a I got caught with we had some little small phones like that at Williamsburg. We had the big phones like we got right here. This is what we had in Venezuela. So um, the Lord was in preparing me to come home.
Mm-hmm.
So before he prepared me to come home, he had to close the door on a few things, issues, people, and things that I had going on. So I'm at Williamsburg, and I get caught with the cell phone. I go to the hole. When I go to the hole, the girl I was dealing with, that I was in love with, who I was supposed to marry, she ran off with another dude and got married. And I don't mess with married women, so that shut the front door, back door on her. The cell phone gone. COVID hit, so I can't get no more of them on visit. So I'm stuck. So now I got, so boom, all of that out of my system now. I started really focusing all of my energy on the Lord, right? Because people started prophesizing to me. They start coming up and say, "Yo, man, you a man of God. What do you can right go home." People out of, even Muslims, the Lord was sending Muslims at me, telling me, "Man, you look out of your element." Because at this time I started running the prayer circle. You know what I mean? I'm going to church real heavy. I'm on a praise and worship team again. You know what I mean? I'm 100% into God right now. And so my mom, everybody started having dreams about me coming home, and I mean it was overwhelming.
And
And
at
it
this
was a,
point, you still had how much time?
at this time I still had like another 30 years left.
Mm. How long did you do
Yeah.
in all?
I did 20 years. What, 19.5. But this is the thing, right? At the time I had some issues on my 2255, and I had filed it. And it was looking pretty good. I thought it was. The first step back had came, they locked us all down, 23-1, right? So they gave me an attorney for my first step back. But at the time I didn't know I thought he was covering everything. So when I asked him about my 2255, he caught an attitude. He like, "Man, listen, I'm not here for that the stuff you file and I'm only here solely to file a motion for you for your first step back. Don't ask me." He had a real nasty attitude, right? So I'm like, dang, he hostile for whatever reason. So I'm like, okay, cool. So one day I'm working out. I'm working out real hard. And I come in my room for the 4 o'clock count. I done took a shower and everything like that. That's one of the days they let us out for rec. And so I lay down during the 4 o'clock count and to take me a nap. And the Holy Spirit woke me up and he said, "Get up and pray." So I'm like, man, I'm gonna pray right here laying in the bed. So I fall asleep. And then it wake me right back up and said, "No, get up and pray." So I did this like 3, 4 times. So on the last time I was like, man, this spirit is not gonna let me sleep. So I got down. I said, all right, I'm gonna be obedient. I got down, I got on my knees, and I started praying. I started praying, "Lord, I'm growing tired. I can't do no more time. Man, I don't know how much I can hold on. Touch the judge's heart. I need you to move in my favor." You know what I mean? At this time, I'm passing out brochures, giving people scriptures every day, using my time to do all that stuff like that. Going to people's cells, is locked down, praying for them, all kind of stuff, right? So probably like I'm gonna say probably like 2 or 3 days later, my door opened. Boom. We look. Me and Marcelli jump up. I'm like, "Hey, what's up?" So they're like, hard. My counselor don't even know me that good. He a new counselor. I said, "Yeah, what's up?" He's like, uh, "You got a lawyer call." I'm like, "I got a lawyer call." He was like, "Yeah." So we go, boom. So I'm like, "What this lawyer want?" He just told me I know he can't wait to deliver some bad news on me the way he was acting. So I go in the office and he like, "Mr. Harden." I'm like, "Yeah." He said, "I just wanted to hear your voice." So I'm like, "You just want to hear my voice? That's not something you tell a man." So I'm like, "What's up?" He's like, "Man, I don't know." I said, "What you mean?" He's like, "Your judge let you free." I said, "Huh?" He said, "I don't know what happened. We just got in the courthouse and your judge just said he don't want to hear nothing. He don't want to hear from the prosecutor. He don't want to hear from your lawyer. He said, I'm just gonna let this guy go free. I don't care
This
what
was
nobody
three
says."
days. 3 days later, after you said this prayer.
Yeah. But the day that the Holy Spirit told me to get on my knees and pray, at that very moment, that's when the judge was making the decision on whether to let me out of prison or not.
Mm.
At that very moment. This is a true story. This is not no fairy tale or fable or nothing like that. But hold on, let me back you up to when we was at Bennisville right quick. This is when I was with you. Let me back you up for a second. So like when birds fly into a building, they can't. they can't find their way out.
Mm-hmm.
So it was two birds that flew in the building, and so I was like, Lord, they've been in there for like a week. I said, Lord, I was listening to a radio station, Moody, and so a guy said he was dating this woman, and he didn't know what he wanted to do with her. So the Holy Spirit came to him and say, put a ring in that glove compartment. And when you go on the next date, if she asks you what's in that glove compartment, you know that's the woman for you. So he pulled up on a date with her. She jumped in and started looking around. Oh, I forgot my mirror, and went and reached for the glove compartment and said, what you got in here? So he said right then and there, he knew they've been married for 60 years. So he said, ask God for confirmation sometimes. So when them two birds was in the unit, I said, Lord, there's two birds in the unit, and birds never go out the unit. Show me your power. Give me confirmation. If I'm getting out of prison, let the bird, one of them birds fly out. And number two, if this the woman you want me to marry, the one that I'm with, let the other one fly out. So about a week went by, birds still in there. I'm like, oh man, I'm dead, right? I got superstitious. So boom, I look up one day, just out of the blue, something said, look up. I look up. I said, hey y'all, what happened to them birds? They was in here. And the guy was like, oh, Migo caught one of them and threw him out the front yard and door, and the other one flew out. I was like, what? I was like, yeah, praise dancing to God. You know what I mean? Hey. So I'm just sitting there one day, and the next thing I step out my room and I see one of the birds fly back in the unit. You know I didn't want to see that bird in the unit, right? So I'm like, oh Lord, which one is it, man? Either this ain't the girl for me, or I'm not getting out of jail. Hopefully, it's the girl. You know? So probably about a week later, I'm standing over there at the domino table, watching them boy play dominoes, and something say, whispered in my ear, "Look to the right," because to the right, the front door. And when I looked to the right, that bird flew right out the door.
You may tell you, I think what it was. Remember the amigo? He
Mm-hmm.
caught the bird and let it out. The bird didn't
Uh,
fly out on his own. So what God wants you to see was the bird, because you seen one. No, he told you the other guy. He told you that it flew out on its own, but
mm-hmm.
it got to come back in so you can see it actually leave.
Absolutely, man. Ain't God good?
I promise you.
Man, ain't
Look,
God good?
we gonna ease forward just a little bit.
Hold on. One more quick
Go
thing
ahead, go
right there.
ahead.
So at this time right here, I'm on social media, man. I'm in Bentonville. I got Facebook. Me and this girl who I'm dating, we're sharing a Facebook. So this girl popped up on our timeline, and she's like, doing what you do what you're doing right now. And so me and her started having a
Doc.
conversation. You know, I wasn't trying to hit on her or nothing like that. So, but she was very beautiful. I'm talking about drop dead gorgeous. And so, the girl who I was dating, she came on time. Don't be talking to that girl. She started. I'm like, why is she hating on this girl? I'm like, man, if things don't work out with me and you, I'm gonna find this girl because she's very intelligent. You know what I mean? Blah blah blah. Very beautiful. So, boom, that go. I'll go to Williamsburg and everything like that. Then skip forward to the story of when the lawyers told me that. So, boom, at the time COVID hit, so we had to get quarantined. So for 20 days. So on the day that we leaving, me and the dude that's with me, we gonna have to catch the bus because we didn't have time to set it up. So when I get up front, the guy at the camp, he's supposed to drive me to Charleston because it's only like maybe like 30 minutes away, 45 minutes away. But nobody told him. So I'm sitting in there by the other guy gone. I'm just sitting there. So I'm getting paranoid now because it's like 3 hours now went by and ain't nobody came and got me yet to take me to the bus. I said, man, they now mess around and found some paperwork. And I said, I'm about to run up out this front door right here. They gonna have to foot chase me to this stuff. But he ended up coming and everything like that. He was like, man, nobody never told me. I said, man, bro, don't be playing like that. Yeah, I was scared to death. So anyway, I ended up coming home and everything like that. So I'm in a halfway house. And so mine now, the girl now ran off. So remember what I told you. If I ever get out and things don't work with me and that girl, I'm gonna find that girl. So one day I'm on the girl. I try to find her on social media. She ain't on there. So about a month later, something just said, "Look her up." I looked her up. She back on social media. So I shot my shot at her. She ignored me. So I said, okay, I can't come at her like that. So I tried a different angle, and she bit. Me and her started conversing again. And then next thing you know, I'm gonna come see you. I'm in a halfway house. And next thing you know, we engaged. We about to get married. We not had a baby. You know what I mean? So that's how my daughter's mother.
So
Yeah.
what we gonna move into the forward process. You out of prison, uh, or you was in the halfway house. How long you been home now?
Since 20 November the 18th, 2019.
Okay, you done been
20,
home for, oh, matter of fact, 4 years. Was
yeah,
you said 2019? Yeah,
yeah,
four going on. Hold on, it's four. Yeah, four going on five. Going on.
yeah.
It'll be five next year.
Hold on, well, you don't count that because it was only one month in 19. So it's 2021 2, yeah, 4 years.
Yeah,
Yeah, 4 years.
four
Going
years.
on 4.
So 4 years you done been home. Tell me what you done and what you're
Hmm.
planning on doing in the future.
Okay, so when I first came home, of course, I'm on fire for the Lord. I'm having Bible studies. I'm doing the same things I was doing in prison, passing out little pamphlets and stuff like that at work, and to people little scriptures because I write out little scriptures like daily breads, and I explain them to people in a way that they can comprehend them. You know what I mean? Almost like in street terms. You know what I mean? So a lot of people loving it. You know what I mean? I got a lot of resistance, and it mostly came from Christian people, believe it or not. And so I started a friend of mine when I first came home, his daughter got killed. She like 14. So he accidentally shot. So he start instead of taking it to the streets because he was a street dude, you know what I mean? And he had the bag, so he could have dropped it on somebody. So, but he chose to take the high route. I told him, I said, listen, man, it's unfortunate for your loss, but the Lord needed your attention strongly. He got a higher calling for you. You know what I mean? He got a bigger responsibility on it. Even though you lost your daughter, God has given you responsibility over a lot of other people's kids. So instead of using his power and influence to enact revenge, he started an organization, and it's really big down here now. They do school supplies, they travel all over, taking kids in the community, they taking hold of the kids. So they use me because like in the streets I got a reputation. They call me OG because I've been in the trenches and I'm solid all the way through and through, and I done did a whole 180. So they call me in, and I speak to a lot of these youth. I know travel all over the state, talking to you. As a matter of fact, I got it set up right now where these Masons, they Christians, you know what I mean? So they want me to come and travel again with them and speak to the troubled youth because they know that they can identify with me more so than they can with them because none of them never even been in trouble before. So they're like, we need you to be our spokesperson. We need you to be our voice because you know how to break it down in a way that my linguistics is really good. I can break it down in a way that anybody can comprehend, whatever level that you're on. They teach you that in public speaking, how to learn your crowd and how to speak to them accordingly, because when we speaking to people, when we dialogue, when we just transfer information from one brain to another,
Hmm.
so you have to just make sure that when you send that message out, that it's a way that they can actually grab it and comprehend it. So I do
Where
that.
did you learn how to do public speaking? Was it in there?
It was in Otisville when I went to New York. When I left Oklahoma, they came out with this. They had a gravel club, so I had always had stage fright. So that was something that I always wanted to do, like typing. I can type like 70, 80 words a minute. That was something I always wanted to do. So when the opportunity presented itself, I jumped on it. And, like for real, I got a lot of rewards because, like I tell you, I can be humorous, I can be serious. You know what I mean? I can speak, what they call it, I can speak direct, indirect, you know what I mean? However, I can use, what they call it, never mind. But yeah. So it's different speaking styles that I can use to adjust to any crowd. So, humor and truth is they go hand in hand though. It's really good
Yes.
when you use humor and truth. Yeah.
So
Oh,
now
but
you.
what I was gonna say, I can speak in hyperboles too. Hyperboles is like Man, like if I was to tell you, um, man, that meal was worth $1 million. That hamburger was only $2 and some change, but you understand the hyperbole of it. I give you an exaggeration to let you know, express how I felt about it.
How
Yeah,
good it was.
how good it was. So that's what you call a hyperbole. And I like Jesus because he used that a lot too.
A lot
Um,
of proverbs.
a lot of proverbs.
So right now you're speaking to youth. You got masons who want to use you to interact with them because they don't have the influence.
hmm
So right now you are using your influence in many ways to inspire people.
Absolutely.
Uh,
I got a group of young boys. When I have the time, I work out with them. We run a lot of sprints and what I mean, stuff like. We matter of fact, we just ran the bridge probably like 2 weeks ago. But probably a little longer than that, probably about 3 or 4 weeks ago. And it was crazy because one of the young boys is my stepson, and he been working out a little bit. He's a good little young guy. I respect him, and so very mature. So he was like, when we coming back. He's like, man, I've been practicing. I think I could take you in a race. I said, who? He was like, man. I said, man, don't let this age fool you now. He was like, what's up? Line it up. I said, nah, I ain't even gonna do you like that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give you a head start. I'm gonna give you 20 yards, right? So he was like, who you gonna give 20 yards to, old fella? He talking smack, right? I'm like, all right, I'm gonna embarrass you over here. So he like, what we running to? That next pole? I said, no, we're gonna run to the pole after that, which is probably like maybe like 100 yards, because I know I can walk him down in 100 yards. He ain't gonna be able to maintain it. So he was like, man, that's a long way. You want to shorten it up? I said, no, we shorten it up. I ain't gonna give you 20 yards now. He's like, all right, come on. So we start running. Brady said his brother, do the ready, said go. So, I'm walking him down. I'm on his heels now. We still got probably like 40 yards to go. I'm like, yeah, them little legs starting to lactate. He done. You know, they don't understand that. So his little legs started to get heavy on him. And so I'm pulling up on him laughing like, man, yeah, I'm just getting started. I do this for real. So man, I had my key fog in my pocket. The key fog flew out my pocket and flew off the bridge. All of three of us had to walk home.
did you win the race?
Huh?
Did you win the race?
Oh yeah, of course. Well, no, we didn't finish it. Once the key fob fell out, we was like, oh snap, we all stopped. Yeah, but I had walked him down. We was shoulder to shoulder at that time. So, and we
Oh,
had 40 yards to go. So, But I'm glad I didn't win the race though, because I wanted him to, me. I wanted him to push himself and see that it's possible to, me, achieve your goal, which was to beat me at the time. So, but I used to race my nephew all the time. He in the sports really bad. So really good. He played basketball, football, baseball, all that.
I want to commend you for the progress that you have made from
Mm.
going to who you used to be to now. Because
Oh,
this is what this show is about. It's about showing progress. And as you already know, we give it all to God.
mm.
Uh,
Oh, and I got my CDL permit, so I'm about to start school there. You know what I mean? So I went to SC Works for anybody that's trying to get their CDL, and like I said, reach out to me, and I got all the necessary tools to help anybody get their permit in 1 week. All you gotta do is reach out to me, and I'll tell you step by step what you do, and I guarantee you within a week you'll have your permit at least.
is
Yeah.
there anything that you would tell somebody who is either coming home, somebody who, a young person or elder who could actually use some information? What would you give them for their forward progress?
This is where it get kind of like sentimental and serious for me right here. One of the very first pieces of advice that I would tell anybody is, what got you healthy when you was in prison. You look better, you feel better, you got your confidence. When you come out in the streets, maintain that same thing. Maintain it. Do exactly everything you was doing in there out here, and you will be able to stay the way that you are. Because, and the second thing I'm gonna tell you is, affiliate yourself with people that have some of the same common goals and the same views on life as you do. As soon as you get out, don't wait. I don't care if it's family, friends, people you don't know. Surround yourself with people who think and are striving the way that you are. Because if you don't, people will drain you and they will steal your dreams right up under your feet and you won't even know it. Remember when Jesus was walking through the market and the lady with the blood issue touched him? He said, "Who took power out of me?" And she was ashamed. That's the same thing that people of the world are going to do. You're gonna spend so much of your time and energy trying to help other people heal until you're just not going to have anything left for yourself. And when you look around, there's not going to be anybody to restore you. This is why it's so important to don't forsake the assembling of the brethren, because that's where your restoration comes from. When you're around people that believe in the same thing that you believe, and they remind you, oh yeah, it's possible, it's achievable. Oh, it feels so good when you go to church and you feel up on that spirit when the music is moving and you feeling good, you praise them and the worshiping. Well, people, you know what I mean, y'all energy is in there, the spirit moving, you feel good. When you leave out of church, you be like, yeah, let's go. You need to surround yourself with people like that, because when you go out into this world, people are going to you drain you, just like that lady took the power out of Jesus, and that's Jesus, the Lord. So you can only imagine what they're gonna do for you, and you ain't even got as much power as him, in on no way, form, or fashion. So just be mindful of that. Don't be like Peter when he got off that boat. Start looking around. Biggest
Keep your
mistake.
eyes focused.
Stay focused, man. Stay focused. Keep your eyes on the prize, and everything will be all right. I guarantee you that. Yeah.
Look, I want to thank you once again. This is Forward Progress. My name is Carlos Walker. This is Keelan Harden, and hey, we out.
Man, love you, brother.
Love you,
God
bruh.
bless. All right. Call me anytime you need me, man. And if
You know
anybody
it.
need that CDL information that you know of, tell them to hit me up. I got them.
Gotcha.